The Developer Update Livestream for Season 2 has just now ended, and let me tell you, we have so good news. I'm going to go over very quickly through all of the stuff that is going to change. I'm going to cover the stuff in detail in further videos that are going to come out over the coming days. So if you don't want to miss out on those, make sure to subscribe. So let's get into it. Bite down on darkness in Season of Blood. This is basically one of two articles that we are going to go through. This was part of the first Developer Update Livestream. The second one is going to go live on the 10th, so that's in 6 days. So we're going to get way more information on top of that, what we already have on the 10th regarding to class balance changes and stuff when it comes to resistances. But first and foremost, these are the gameplay updates and gameplay improvements. And oh boy, we do have a lot of those. So Bite Down on Darkness, Season of Blood. So Season 2 is coming out on October 17th, 10 a.m. PDT, which is going to be 7 p.m. CEST for the Europeans. And patch 1.2 goes live on October 17th too. So we're going to get the patch notes on the 10th, but the patch is going to go live on October 17th. So we will not be able to try out all the new stuff. We will basically go on as we are playing for the first time, which is going to be very, very interesting when it comes to racing, because there is a lot of new stuff. So let's go ahead. Turn back Crimson Times with Eris in a new quest. So basically you get a new quest, same with the Malignant Hearts. You're going to hunt some vampires, and you can siphon the blood of the foes using vampiric powers, and then you're going to be able to use these vampiric powers, and this will look something like this. You will get a new pacts system, as you can see on here on the right side. You will be able to slot in 5 vampiric powers, 5 different ones. You can see they're looking a little bit like glyphs, and you acquire them out in the world. They are very strong, and they already have different tiers. So some of them are going to be stronger, some of them are going to be weaker. And the weaker ones are going to need these activations right here. And you will be able to get these activations on your gear. You can see on here the little helmet right there has these little symbols. I hope they make them bigger, by the way. And you have those on all of your armor slots. So these are going to be a requirement, which are then activating the different vampiric powers. I will go into way greater detail on this in a future video. Again, if you don't want to miss out on that one, make sure to subscribe. There is a lot of stuff to uncover, so we have to keep going. So the vampiric powers are going to be unpacked through the armors, so you can enchant the armors with your pacts, and these are activating the powers, as we just said. These items right here are going to be used on your armor, which are then going to be the pacts, and then again will unlock the powers for you. Then you will have basically a lot of new builds coming up. We do have all the access to all of the minor vampiric powers. We do have access to all the major vampiric powers, and these are quite a lot. So as you can see, these are all the new powers coming to Diablo 4 in Season 2. Those are huge. As you can see right here, this is a minor vampiric power. Your ultimate skill gains 20% cooldown reduction. Your ultimate skill gains 12% increased damage for each nearby enemy affected by your damage over time effects. As you can see, there's also going to be a lot of scaling and very crazy stuff that we can do with the new vampiric powers. I will be linking the documents down in the description below. So if you want to read up on the vampiric powers more in detail, you can do that. They will be linked down in the description. There is a lot of cool stuff. For example, something like this, Moonrise 6 Ferocity, and Ferocity is the stuff that you put on your armor. So you need 6 Ferocities on your armor to be able to unlock Moonrise. Hitting an enemy with a basic skill grants you 4% attack speed for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. Upon reaching maximum stacks, you enter a vampiric blood rage, gaining 160 basic skill damage and 15% movement speed bonus for 10 seconds. So Frenzy Barbs are going to love this patch, I'm sure. I'll tell you already. There's a lot of basic skill stuff in there. It's going to be great for barbarians. Then there's going to be a so-called Blood Harvest, which is basically Hell Tides, but it's always active. So it's going to be active in one zone, and as soon as that one is over, you will the blood harvest is instantly going to go to a next zone. There's absolutely no downtime in between, and you need this to unlock the vampiric powers, collect the pacts to put on your armor. So that is very important right here. As you can see here, there is going to be, well, blood harvests. So that's going to be the new, more interesting mechanic, and you will get new events on top of that. And the very cool stuff, new endgame bosses. So as you can see here, there's three. There is this ice guy, then there's this blood guy, and there's Uber Duriel, and this one is on par with Uber Lilith. You need to kill these two to be able to get to Uber Lilith, but we will get to that in a second. Let me open this up real quick, because this is how everything looked before Season 2 launched. As you can see here, we did have Echo of Lilith down here, and we had Whispers, Nightmare Dungeons, and Hell Tides, as well as World Bosses and Legion events as soon as you were level 71 and 100. So there's this stuff that you could do. Also the stuff in 40 to 70. This is all you know. But the new stuff is going to be highlighted in yellow right here. All the yellow stuff is basically added to the game now. So between 50 and 70, you will be able to fight the Echoes of Varshan, as you have been able in the Malignant patch. And there's also going to be a Grigor, the Galvanic Saint. That was the guy that we saw on the left on the boss's picture. Let me open that up real quick. It's this guy right here. And this one is going to be available between 50 and 70, and after you did some Hell Tides. So in the Whispers, there is going to be some fragments dropping that can then be used to summon Echoes of Varshan, and the same goes for Hell Tides. In Hell Tides, there's going to be some fragments that are going to drop, and these fragments will be usable to summon Grigor to be able to fight this guy. And that's already between 50 and 70, and these are going to drop the build enabling unique, so something like a Tempest Roar or stuff alike. That's already very, very good. Then 70 to 100, you still be able to do Echoes of Varshan, and you will still be able to do Grigor. And these two, whenever you defeat those, have a chance to drop a fragment. When you have enough fragments, you will be able to do Uber Duriel, which, as you can see, is on the same stage as Echo of Lilith. It is going to be a little bit easier, they said, on Duriel, and not so mechanically intensive like Echo of Lilith or Uber Lilith. And then we will also get the Beast in the Ice, which is basically the same stuff. You will get fragments starting at Nightmare Dungeon tier 31, and will be able to do the Beast in the Ice, which is going to drop uniques, as well as all the other stuff. Uber Duriel has the chance to drop Uber unique, so yes, you can actually farm Shakos and stuff alike. And Lord Zia is attached to the World Bosses and the Legion events, which are going to drop fragments again, which will then allow you to summon Lord Zia. And this is the end boss of the Season 2 quest line, for example. You will be able to find weaker versions of Lord Zia at the end of the quest line, but this one is going to be a stronger one, which is again going to be summoned with the fragments. Very interesting here, they have taken quite a lot of inspiration from PoE's system, which is good. I really like that they are taking a tried and true system and bringing it in Diablo 4. Very good in my opinion. And these will have unique stuff dropping, so unique mounts, unique items, transmogs that you can't get anywhere else. And that is going to be nice. Then the season journey is going to be way, way better now. As you can remember, in Season 1, you basically had the season journey going from 1 to 100 and also did the Smoldering Ashes. These Smoldering Ashes are now going to be available way, way earlier. So you will get the good benefits already at like level 50 or 60. They didn't put a number to this, but it's going to be way earlier than it was in Season 2. And the Smoldering Ashes are also going to be auto-unlocking, so you just need to spend the points on the urns, for example, the XP urn or the urn that gave you more gold, and we will also get 3 more seasonal blessings. They didn't say which ones, but that is also going to be nice. As you can see here, this is basically the armor that we are getting, and yeah, again, a free and a premium battle pass. And yeah, then we can see here, yeah, more shop stuff, more seasons, no more information on stash tabs, and some Diablo Immortal stuff right here. So that's the first part. The second part, which is even more, and we all went through this in like 2 hours, a little bit less than that. This is focusing a lot on experience. So as we go through this, they said they're going to decrease the time we need from level 1 to 100 by around 40%. So they're almost cutting it in half, going from 1 to 100, which is huge. There's going to be more infos again on the 10th of October to this. And we will get the patch on the 17th, as we already said. And then we will also be able to, again, fight the 5 new endgame bosses, as we have talked about. And we will get more Legion events because the cooldown has been reduced. And the world boss fights are going to be upped in frequency. Before, they were spawning every 6 hours, which is now every 3.5 hours. So you will get way more world bosses. And there's going to be a longer timer. A longer warning timer, and a broadcast to all players when the world boss is 50 minutes away from spawning. That's great. And we will get way more gold and way more experience for the Helltides, for cashing in Grim Favors and completing individual Whispers. Now, this is very important because going back to this, and if you thought, oh, that's how I was, you don't want to do Whispers to be able to do Uber Duriel because you needed Echoes of Varshan, and you didn't want to do Helltides to get to Grigor and then get the stuff that you need for Duriel. I was in the same boat. I hated this change because nobody was doing Whispers and nobody was doing Helltides. But since they are increasing gold and experience in these categories, Helltides and Tree of Whispers are now going to be viable for leveling, which is also going to be a very good way of acquiring, or basically the only way of acquiring the fragments that you need to get to the bosses and then to Uber Duriel in the end. And on top of that, to ensure enemies constantly give experience when you are in the outdoors, the stuff with the trailing behind is gone now, it looks like. There is a little bit of semantics problems here. And also in other parts of this second article here, we will get into that later on. But it looks like the mobs are going to be on your level. And Helltide chest will have icons on the map that indicate their type. So you can see which ones are armor and which ones are going to be amulet. And Whisper caches are going to be the slot that you picked. So you can't get a weapon in an amulet and vice versa. Again, experience and monster leveling is going to be 40% faster, which is crazy in my opinion. So you can definitely finish 1 to 100 in below 30 hours. So that's going to be very nice. And on top of that, they made instances now grant bonus to experience. Instances were the thing that you use when you were in a party and you could get some more very useful stats, but no one was really using those because they were quite expensive, but it didn't give you anything that valuable. Now you get more experience and they persist after death. So that's really good if you want to level fast. And what they did is they increased the potency of experience bonuses by making them multiplicative with the world tier bonus. So now you sum all of the stuff that gives you more experience. So incenses, elixirs, and all the other stuff that you could do to get more experience are going to be summed together. And all the other stuff like the world tier buffs that they did in the past, they're going to be summed together and then multiplied with the world tier bonus. So we are going to get huge experience when it comes to Season 2. In Nightmare Dungeons, we are now going to be instantly teleported inside the dungeon. So no more double loading screen right now. That is great. And then they also removed some objectives from dungeons. So on these, some, and then they removed a lot of objectives from dungeons. So there is probably not going to be any free this prisoners. You only need to defeat the boss in most of them. I'm really curious how that is going to work out. A very, very good change in my opinion. Then the only thing that I didn't really like is some stuff coming back, like backstabbers coming back, but this time they make you vulnerable and you take a little bit more damage. This is definitely a better way than it was before. Before you were just taking more damage from behind. And monster crit resist, which can now be dropped when you stop attacking for 3 seconds. fine choice for me. Death Pulse is here and can't be spawning on monsters that have an on-death explosion, and they will stop, they will be prevented from spawning on top of each other. So sometimes when you pull in everything with a death trap, for example, you have like 10 mobs on top of each other, they all die, and then you have like 4 death pulses on top of each other, which is very deadly. This cannot happen any longer. Lightning Storm is going to give you 35% movement speed after you have been in the dome and the dome has been hit by the lightning. That's going to help a little bit. I don't think it's enough, but at least it's something that improves gameplay. Drifting Shade now down. It has 2 seconds less duration and respawn time is increased by 2 seconds. Perfect. A lot of very good stuff right here. And they made dungeon events more worthwhile by increasing the monster density. So we will have new testing when it comes to the experience and what are going to be the best events to do. Hopefully all of them are very close, so it doesn't matter which ones you're doing. Again, more testing as soon as Season 2 comes out. You will have all the information that you need on this channel right here. And the NPCs can no longer be killed very easily in World Tier 3 and 4. There's going to be a lot of inventory space stuff like gems being a crafting material. There's going to be gem shards dropping, and then you can take these gem shards that are in your materials tab to use the to create gems that you can then socket in your gear. And these gems can already be can also be salvaged, so you can recreate gem shards out of these. So you will never have to worry about not having any stash space when it comes to gems in particular. Then a very good change, and I was really happy about this. Scrolls of Escape now works on Disconnect. I am really happy because in the Season 1 race, I died to exactly that. I DC'd and my character was dead upon login. That was very, very sad. At that point, I was number 4 in the world in the race, so that was really sad for me. Hopefully that is not going to happen with this change any longer for anybody. Also, Woody died to the same thing, so I'm very happy that that is gone and that is not an issue anymore. I just hope that this feature works now. And yeah, you can now also favor items and not and also salvage or mark them as trash. So basically you have 2 options now, which is great. And the best thing in my opinion here when it comes to items, the stuff that you find, imagine you are level 85, you are now in World Tier 4 farming, and everything that would have dropped in normal or sacred item level range or rarity is now going to be dropping as salvaged material instantly. So now your inventory is not going to be filled up. Instead, you will just, the mob will instantly drop what you would have salvaged out of the item that the mob would have dropped. The normal ancestral stuff is still going to drop. The rare and the magic ancestral stuff is still going to drop, but all the other stuff, the white, the normal or the sacred stuff is not going to show up. It's just going to show up as salvaged material instantly. I hope that that is going to be an auto pickup, but that is to be found out. And Whispers and Helltides are now giving you plus 10 or plus 20 item power respectively out of the caches. So let's say you have a 600 item power glove, you're choosing the glove Whisper cache. The gloves that are in that cache are now going to be 610 always. So you will always have an upgrade when you're done with Whispers. That's going to be great. Renown is going to carry over, although this right here is confusing a lot of hardcore players. I really hope that we will get to keep our Renown when it comes to Season 2 and don't have to regrind it to 5 out of 5. For the race, everybody will still just go to 3 out of 5 and then do Renown afterwards, after the race is over. I really hope that it's a typo here because the semantics here are very weird in this portion of the blog post. I'm really curious how that is going to work out. And we get 2 additional character slots, a lot of good stuff, as you can see. It's perfect. Then mount has been improved. We're basically running faster now. Base speed is increased by 15%. You're sprinting for longer. You can now go through barricades and there is no more huge delay when you dismount. Before it had been like 10 seconds, now it's like 3 seconds when you demount, so that's huge. Then also the towns have more stashes in more visited areas, so that is going to be crazy good quality of life. I don't know why they didn't have this on launch, but at least we have it now and not in season 4 or something, so that's great. And there's going to be there's going to be more waypoints and more waypoints in each region, so you will be having much easier time and much easier quality of life when it comes to that. Then in the UI, we do have a streamer option. You can now disable stuff like character names, and you can obviously search your stash as they have announced. And there is one more thing. Then you can now hide the combat text. So for example, the vulnerable, the dodge, the fortify, that can all be hidden now. You can just show the combat numbers. You can also show nothing if you want to, and that is going to be great. Overall, I think this has been a huge W in every department of the Developer Update Livestream. I think it was 2 hours of constant W after W after W. I was a little bit worried when I saw this graphic, because I didn't want to do Whispers and I didn't want to do Helltide, because I didn't know that they are going to be buffed when it comes to experience and drop and gold. Since they updated that or buffed that in all those terms, in all those fields, now I am really happy that I get basically more content. I don't get new content, but before we only had Nightmare Dungeons tier 100. Now we also have Whispers, and now we also have Helltide. Because before, nobody would have done any Helltide, nobody would have done any Whispers, and everybody was just stuck in Nightmare Dungeons. And now you basically have Whispers and Helltide to do as well, that are going to unlock bosses, and these bosses are also going to unlock Uber Duriel. Very, very good change. And one more thing I actually forgot. There's going to be an item power increase. I can't find it right here. Let me check real quick. It must be somewhere around here. Duriel and stuff alike is going to be able to drop 920 item power. And the Uber Uniques are always going to be 920 and are always going to be max roll. So if you find a Shaco, it's going to be Biss and a max roll Shaco, which can be target farmed by probably defeating Uber Duriel and then having a chance to drop that stuff. So that is going to be very good. And the other stuff that I wanted to show on this graph right here is that Nightmare Dungeons are still going to stay relevant, not only because of the boss right here, but also because the item power is now scaling with the mob levels, that because the loot that you get is now scaling with the level of the monsters, which is going to be very good for tier 100 Nightmare Dungeons farming. At monster level 150, they said that the item power is going to be around 920. So you will be able to get 920 item power, weapons, armor, and jewelry, which is going to be very important because the item power on weapon, of course, is going to be your main DPS gain, but the higher increased item power on the armor is going to give you more armor, making you way more tanky, and the higher item power on the jewelry is going to give you more resistances, which is going to be very important come season 2, because those have basically been activated, and therefore you will have a lot of stuff to do after hitting level 100, because you want to do the endgame bosses, then you want to do the Uber Duriel new boss, you want to grind out the 920 item power, probably on all of the slots, and I think that is going to be a huge time investment from the player's side. I am very happy with how this update turned out. I'm really curious what we're going to get more than that on the 10th. Probably a lot of nerfs because we get 920 item power weapons. I don't think they're going to leave us as is. So maybe this is the good part, and the bad part comes on the 10th. I hope that they are not going to kill the hype that is slowly building up, because as you can see here, I have a Reddit post open. Okay, I'll say it. I'm ready to be crucified. Season 2 looks very promising, and I don't know how many upvotes it has right now. Let me refresh this stuff, and the sentiment down in the comments is just the same. So everybody is really happy with how the Developer Update livestream turned out. Please let me know down in the comments below how you guys are feeling about this. And yeah, if you like content similar to this and don't want to miss out on all the other news that I have for you in store, subscribe to the YouTube channel and I'll see you next time.